Hello, everyone. I think we're live, and we're just waiting for a few more people to join us. Welcome, everyone. It's always a bit weird waiting for people to join.
Come on, come in.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Let's hope people are online and able to join us as we start. Okay. I'm just giving a few more minutes. If you're dialing in, can you just let us know where you're dialing in from? I think there's a chat on whatever platform you're on. Take a minute and let us know where you're dialing in from, what's exciting about today, and any questions you have for our fabulous ladies. You can type it into the chat box. So, welcome. My name is Griselda Togobo. I can't pronounce my name this morning. Clearly, it's a borrowed name. That's why.
It's brilliant.
I'm the CEO of We Are Novi. We recently rebranded from Forward Ladies. And I am on this panel this morning with two of our amazing entrepreneurial female founders. They are award winners from last year's Forward Ladies Awards program and this year's, and really, we're using their stories to showcase the awards, but also to just make you aware of the talent we have within the community. So I have Claire Paxman from Paxman Scalp Cooling. Hi,
Hello.
Claire.
Good morning, Griselda. Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's okay.
Yes. And we have Emma. Emma is from Empro Group Consulting.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome.
Okay, fabulous. We'll start off with a few questions, and I will just, I've told Emma and Claire it's really informal. We're just going to have a chat as though we're having breakfast, and you have the opportunity to sit in on our breakfast. So, can we quickly just start off by Emma sharing the story of you founding your company?
Yeah, so I founded the business in 2018 as a contractor and was absolutely doing fantastic work and no issues at all until I got very, very poorly in 2022 and ended up in a coma in hospital and paralysed for about a 12-week period. And if anybody's seen the programme or the film Locked In, it's pretty much like that. You kind of can't do anything. You can't scratch an itch or have a drink or anything like that. And I've kind of got the tracheostomy to show for it. And that gave me a lot of thinking time in hospital and what my legacy would be and what I would leave for my son and my family and actually what impact I'd had on the world. And when I got better, I thought, actually, I want to do more than just contracting. I don't want to be a kind of, I want to build something really special, really great that delivers great products, great benefits, and works with some really lovely clients as well. So when I come out of hospital, I actually kind of set about growing the business, building a brand, and we've gone from just me to a team of 18 as we stand today. We've grown 600% in the last year. So versus last year, we've grown again. And we've got a team of predominantly females working in real estate, construction and facilities market, which is very, very unheard of. And we're doing fantastic work. We deliver fantastic things for our customers, and we've grown to the point that we're now a full turnkey solution. So we've got a consultancy part of our business which consults on project management. We deliver great projects through that business. We've got a recruitment and talent team who find talent in the market, the sector, and we also have a technology part of our business where we build bespoke apps for our clients. So in terms of what we do, it's incredibly broad, and it's all run by women. So that's what we do.
Okay. Fabulous. And so I heard you say, you had a challenging medical condition, and I'm really sorry to hear that. But I also know most people going through that tend to have one or two responses. They either shrink and decide to play really safe and not take any risk. And you've done the exact opposite. running a business is one of the most tasking things you can do post recovery. So just give me a bit around how your mindset has really changed. What?
Yeah, that's so when I was in hospital, I couldn't do anything. I watched the most amount of Netflix you've ever seen. There's nothing on Netflix I don't think I've not seen. And there wasn't really much I could do. And you know, when I was relaxing, put my feet up, didn't have to cook, didn't have to clean, didn't have to run a business, it was great. I was like, I'm definitely going to slow down, definitely going to slow down, you know, take a lower pace of life. And I did completely the opposite. And I think the turning point for me was probably as I was starting to recover, my top half of my body came back before my bottom half. So I was literally sat in a hospital, kind of playing on a laptop because I didn't have anything else to do. And I had this kind of electrical test. So they send shock waves down my body to see if my nerves were awake and would flick the message back to my brain. And unfortunately, that test didn't go very well. So doctor came around to see me and said, you know, really sorry, we got some bad news. It's really unlikely you're going to walk again. And it was that, I think, there must be a very resilient, stubborn child in me somewhere, because I thought, I'm not having that. Hold my drink. I am going to walk again. And I kind of spiraled from there, and I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And I knew I was going to get back to health. I was going to go and, you know, push and not accept that was my fate. You know, being in a hospital bed, we're told you're not going to walk again, would have been very, very easy for me to go, okay, I'm not going to try because I'm not going to be able to, and kind of sit back. And I don't think if I had tried, I would have got better. I think, you know, you've got to have a kind of resilient mindset and say, no, that's not right, and have the willpower to push. And I think that's one of the most important things I got out of it. And I don't regret what happened to me for a second, because it's led me to where I am now. And I think if I hadn't have gone through that, I probably wouldn't have developed as an individual. But it taught me a lot about mindset and positive thinking. And if you don't believe it or you don't think it, you won't do it. You've kind of got to push yourself into that kind of mindset. And the other thing that I learned is sense of humor. There is absolutely no point living on this world if you don't have fun. You've got one life and you've got to live it. And sometimes people are so serious and lose their personality. And, you know, go and have fun, do what you do, love it, and have a bloody good time as well, because you've only got one chance. So I think having sense of humor at those darkest moments in my life has taught me it's absolutely fine to have a sense of humor. So I've brought that through the business. So everybody loves what they do, and we all laugh and joke, and we have a great time while we're doing it as well.
Fabulous. Well, Claire, over to you. Can you tell us about your product, the Paxman Scalp Cooling?
Of course I can, absolutely. Before I do, can I just say to Emma as well, you know, I've heard Emma's story before, and it always, every time, just gives me goosebumps, because I just think from what's happened to you and what you've done is just so commendable. And yeah, I just wanted to say that in front of everybody as well.
Thank you.
You really are a superstar. So, and I love the bit about the fun, because that's me as well. So the Paxman Scalp Cooling System. So ultimately, it's a medical device, and what we are doing is helping to minimize hair loss when people are going through chemotherapy treatment. So it's an incredibly important part of people's cancer journey, and we're so proud to be globally, you know, changing the face of cancer and helping people all over the world.
Okay, so for is the product just for women? Is it for men? Who is it targeted at?
So it's for both. It's men and women. There is that assumption that it is just for women, but men matter too, folks, when it comes to hair loss. I think the assumption is there just because, you know, men have male pattern baldness, but the difference is that happens over a number of years, not in 2 to 3 weeks as chemotherapy induced alopecia happens. So anybody with a solid tumor cancer is applicable for having this treatment. And so ultimately, again, we have a small compact mobile refrigeration unit which pumps a special liquid coolant into a cap. And what we're trying to do is cool the scalp and protect those hair follicles from the adjuvant effect of the chemotherapy drugs. So that's really important that we do that whilst you are actually having chemotherapy. So you wear the cap for a period of time before the chemotherapy infusion, whilst you're having it, and then for around 90 minutes post. So I'm happy to explain how it works as well.
Okay. I think that would be very helpful for a lot of people. I know a lot of friends currently going through chemo, and I have decided to climb Kilimanjaro to raise funds for Macmillan. Because a few of them also happen to be female entrepreneurs as well, who don't have, there's no fallback plan other than to just try to make ends meet whilst they're going through this rather challenging time. So anyone on the session, if you feel generous, please check out the Kilimanjaro campaign, and if you can donate towards Macmillan, I think it would be very much appreciated. Now, Claire, one of the things you said on your application form was that you spend a lot of time helping women going through cancer, advocate for themselves. Can you just share how you've been doing that?
Yeah, so there's lots of different ways. So whether you're a female clinician, I've had a huge avid interest in ensuring that you feel both educated and supported, and that lends into my role of director of training. But then also I love to support females and the patients out there. So I've now set myself as being the big sister of Scout Cooling to help and support you. So my social media has lots of helpful videos. So I show how to get a really good cap fit, because that is the most crucial part of our treatment and of the equipment. If you've got a good cap size selected and a good cap fitting, then that goes towards helping you to get the best out of your treatment. And, we know and understand that a lot of the clinicians are so busy, the nurses are so busy, particularly here in the UK on with the NHS. So if we can help with that self-advocacy and helping them to understand what they need to achieve to get the best cap fit, what cooling times they should be adhering to, and anything to support, that's absolutely what I'm here for, and what I love to do, given the fact of I cut my own beautiful late mum's hair off, and that's how Paxman started.
Fantastic. So if you're listening, what platforms are you currently doing this on, Claire?
So on Instagram, it's at claire.paxman. On Facebook, I have a Facebook page as well. And there's a little bit of things that are on TikTok as well. But the main ones are Instagram and a Facebook page as well.
Okay, fabulous. So I want to just quickly touch on barriers. And I know, Emma, you've talked about your illness as a huge barrier. Claire, I know you've also faced a lot. And are also always going through a lot. Do you want to just tell us a bit about some of the barriers you've had to overcome to be able to grow the business?
Yeah,
personal or professional?
Yeah, so the personal ones for me. I mean, obviously having lost my mum at such a young age as well is huge. I am a sole parent. I've raised my gorgeous son completely by myself. So being a sole parent, he's 20 this year. How are you 20?
You're not old enough, Claire.
I know, it's not biologically or scientifically possible. Ladies, I'm only 25. So no, it's and that absolutely is a struggle when you're having to raise a child by yourself, and also to help to grow a business. And also, I live with a mental health disorder. I'm incredibly open about that. I think it's really, really important that we are open and talk. Things have been difficult. I've had many difficult times where, openly honest, I haven't wanted to be here anymore. And that's, my core belief is I'm not good enough. And so that whole belief of I'm not good enough, imposter syndrome, and all the while trying to do what you're trying to do is, it's been difficult. But I am so proud, ladies, to sit here today and tell you I'm probably the happiest I have ever been. I've put things into place, mindfulness, walking my dog. I try to do between 10 and 12,000 steps a day. and taking that time, because we all know was. I mean, Griselda, what time were you and I emailing each other last night?
Midnight.
And that's the reality of being a woman in business and being in part of your senior leadership team and everything. But it's because that passion is there. You want to help, want to make a difference, and want to help this business to grow, because we at Paxman absolutely want to democratize scalp cooling. No matter who you are, where you are in the world, your ethnicity, your gender, your cancer type, and your financial situation, that you get access to scalp cooling. So I'm really proud to be able to work with my fabulous colleagues and my wonderful brother, Rich, who's our CEO, in achieving this. But it's great to get the support, and we're very, very open here at Paxman about that as well, and ensuring that our team feels supported, and us as individuals do as well.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you've shared that, because there's still quite a bit of stigma around leaders talking about their mental health. We women sometimes do it more than the men, but not enough, because, you get judged. Get judged. And although we've heard some really positive things about, the value of sharing, of transparency and openness and vulnerability, it's still not an easy thing to do. So can you just share with us what made you come out and share, and how that has changed, the kind of response you've had, and what you're doing to help other people also be as open as yourself?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that reason, Griselda, of trying to eliminate that taboo of that you can be. It doesn't make you weak at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I think it makes you stronger to have that to be able to talk about it openly, and to be able to be vulnerable in being honest and open, and also it's massively helped me grow as a person. To really understand who I am as an individual. I think there was times, and again, I'll openly admit, because of that imposter syndrome, because of that feeling of not being good enough, I perhaps haven't always had the best relationship with people, and even not reacted right in some ways, but by knowing and getting to know yourself, understanding why you are who you are and what you do, it really helps you to develop and grow as a leader as well, and to be able to support others. I go into schools and do talks on careers and do talks on my story and where I've come from, and I always talk about that don't be afraid to talk, don't be afraid to open up, because it absolutely is not weakness. It's much the opposite. So, and I think we all need to be really open and honest with each other, because it's a sisterhood. This is a sisterhood.
It is a sisterhood.
Business and to support each other, whatever anybody's going through. And like Emma with her medical issues and everything, I think it's super important.
Yes. And I know people look at me sometimes and think I seem to have it all together, but I certainly don't. I certainly don't. And I have to say, the self-talk, the negative self-talk, I don't want to focus on the conversations I have with people, because I think the madness is the conversations that I have with myself, and the real importance of having some control and awareness over that, and turning it into something more empowering than something that takes you down. It is something we should be talking about more, because I think sometimes the stronger you are, or maybe it's even that negative voice in your head that drives you to do more, in this quest to silence it. So seeing these three women here, myself included, doesn't mean we have everything together. It just means that sometimes, despite the challenges and the voices and all the barriers, you make a conscious decision to just keep going. Yeah, irrespective of that. So Emma, I'm coming back to you about success. So I'm sure your definition of success pre your illness must have evolved post success. And I know you're working quite hard now, but you've talked about leaving a legacy, but how has that changed? Is it still about money? Is it about a financial legacy? Is it about freedom? What is it about? What are you trying to achieve and define as your success this time around?
Yeah, I think I thought about it the other day, actually. I think I was speaking to one of the team and they said, what's your vision for the future? Where do you want to take the business? What do you want it to look like? And it made me think about that. And I thought, actually, in my mind, the bigger the business is and the more we grow, the more opportunities we can offer to people to join the business. Where I know we're supportive, we provide great training, we're a great place to work, and we're giving opportunities to people to grow and develop. So if I can kind of pass that baton down and give more opportunities for people to get into our sector, which is very heavily male dominated because it's like engineering, it's building, it's construction, it's facilities maintenance, etc. For me, leaving a legacy of giving somebody an opportunity, getting them into the market and giving them a career path is the ultimate goal, because I absolutely love kind of talking to people about our sector. It's the same as you, Claire. I go into schools. I actually lived in an area in Birmingham that wasn't great when I was kind of bought my first house, and I actually went back to one of the schools that I used to live next to talk to the kids and say, actually, I live down the road, and representation, if you can see it, you can dream it. You can, you've got representation, you can say, that's what I want to do when I'm older. And that's what I didn't see. I saw my dad and I thought my dad's really cool and I want to be like my dad, but not male. So yeah, I think for me, kind of leaving that legacy, opening doors, giving people opportunities, that's kind of where I'm heading. It's less about the finances, it's less about the turnover, because if you do the right thing, you do good work, that will come. I've learned that. And actually, I want to focus on what's our social impact. So the past couple of weeks, I've had a wonderful lady join our team called Emma, which is very confusing having two Emmas. And she's kind of, oh yeah, I know, it's really bad. And I've had to now put people's second name into email addresses because I'm like, well, how are we going to differentiate? But we've pulled together a report which is all of our social impact over the last year and what we've done. And honestly, it's the best thing I've ever read. It was so wonderful to see all the impact we've had on the local community and the people that we work with. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm heading. Yeah, that's what we're about now.
And I want to dig deeper and ask why that matters to you. Why is it important to have a social impact?
I think
what is it about your upbringing that's driving you to try and have a social impact?
Do you know what? I grew up on, my dad was a engineer. He was kind of he was a farrier, then turned into an engineer and blacksmith by trade. And we grew up on a small holding. So I'm an only child and I've been surrounded by nature, wildlife, doing the right thing. My dad's very black and white. He's always kind of on the right side of doing the right thing. And I've been brought up around kind of, having your own chickens, having your own sheep, kind of, farming the land in the right way, regenerative farming. So I've always been brought up with this is the right thing for the planet and the world and how things should be done. And I think I've kind of taken that notion but applied it to what I see as challenging. So when I was in my early career, I'd get patted on the head and say, good girl, well done, and like, makes me shudder now. But I've also had the challenge and bias of I can't possibly be technical because I'm a female, so I do some quite technical stuff. But actually, people are like, no, where's the technical person? That can't be you. And I'm like, no, I'm the MD. I run the whole show, not just the technical side. I think, yeah, just challenging some of that bias as well. And that's why I want to attract more women into the sector, because you can do it, and actually we can do it really bloody well if you want to. And things that we launched an app last year, we've done coding, some really clever technical, IT side, not none of the M&E side. So yeah, just based on my own kind of I've taken and adapted it to make it right for me, and that's where we've got to.
Fantastic. Claire, do you want to take that question as well? And how things have changed for you, how your definition of success has changed since starting and where you are now?
Yeah, I think I'm very much the same as Emma. It's not it's not about money or anything like that for me. It is definitely about wanting to make a difference, as I've already alluded to. I cut my mum's hair off when she was having her cancer treatment when I was 14 years old. So I don't want anyone to ever have to go through that and have to do that, because it's one of the worst things I've ever had to do. So yeah, everything that has had from starting with Paxman, because obviously I'm not the actual founder. It's my dad, Glenn, wonderful dad, is our founder. He decided and wanted to make a difference when my mum was going through her treatment and used an older primitive type of scalp cooling. But I've worked for our family businesses for now 26 years and moved over to Paxman 16 years ago, and literally did start, right from just being a training specialist, a training executive, and going in and to the hospitals that we had in the UK and training them. But because my background is business development and sales, but the biggest thing for me is everybody should be having this. I need everybody to have this. So then that's when I grew the UK market and got, onboarded up the NHS hospitals and the private hospitals. And then that evolved into me becoming the sort of strategic initiatives director, because when I moved over to Paxman 16 years ago, there were 6 of us, and that's from people building the machines themselves. And into the international part, my brother, as I say, was our CEO. He looked after that section. But now, we're about to touch 100, distributing to 60 markets worldwide. And so what I've always wanted to do in that sense is be that person to support all my colleagues and all these other departments in developing training programs to ensure that no matter where you are in the world, you receive the same level of training. And I guess what I'm trying to sort of explain is that it's very different when there's 6 of you to now there's 100 odd here. But my vision and passion hasn't changed at all. It is always about engaging with people and ensuring that everyone feels educated and supported to both receive and provide the best treatment. So I think I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. Yeah. Most people don't have the privilege to work in a family business, but there's also a lot of myths around running a family business, being part of a family business. Can you just bust some of the usual ones that you've heard for us?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it goes back to, the biggest thing is I love it. Ask me, how on earth do you work with your family? How do you work with your brother? I'm one of 4. I've got 3 brothers, only girl and middle child, Griselda.
Oh, yeah, I'm a middle child as well.
I had no hope, did I? Only girl. I'm only joking. But, my brothers are incredibly successful, all of them. My brother Rich is just, not only is he our CEO, he's also, my hero, but then that comes with its down points. I'm not saying anything out of turn here. He knows this himself. It's he's my brother. He's brilliant. He's done so much, and so that makes me feel, well, again, going back to am I good enough? Where does my place sit in all of this? My other 2 brothers are on our sister company in the drinks dispense industry, and and they're brilliant and they're doing so well. Do I fit in with that? So it has its absolute benefits, but also at the same time, in that comparison, everyone loves my brother. Does everybody like me? Which I keep getting told is ridiculous. But you can't help it.
Yeah, I know.
Help it.
Yes. And it's so important that you talk about that, because there's the sibling element of it. And sometimes there's a work element of it as well. And it's also the comparison that we do of ourselves and the other women and men we have within our network who are doing better, who are better spoken, who are more loved, who have, what's something that we think we don't have. and that can take a real toll. I think we all do it to some extent, I think. Emma, is that something you can relate to as well?
Yeah, I think my similar to you, Clem. My dad ran his own business since before I was born, so I've always grown up with that kind of entrepreneurial element. And I did work for my dad for a number of years, and it was really difficult because yeah, you kind of got that sense of, am I here just because we're related? And then you kind of you think that of other people and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the entrepreneurial spirit has definitely been kind of, I've watched and observed my dad, and he definitely a workaholic, and I've definitely inherited some of that trait, because although I say that, I don't feel my job's a job. Like, I love my job. I always say, and I say, Sunshine, I'd get up and do it for free because I just love what I do, genuinely love. But I think that's because I've converted my passion and my upbringing into my role. And yeah, I've got a fantastic little team around me that I absolutely adore, and we're all doing really good stuff. So yeah, I don't feel like my job is a job. I do it because I love it, and I think that's part of, I think if you've got that passion, it shines through in what you do. And everybody always tells me that I work with, they're like, you're so passionate. I'm like, but don't you want that? If you're working with somebody and you know, you're paying them, you know, for doing something, you're going to want to work with somebody that loves what they do and does a good job. And again, I think that shines through in everything that we do, which is probably one of the reasons why we've grown so much in the last year. And yeah, I can just see that continuing. And like I said, it, for me, I dig it when we can offer people careers and a route into the sector. And a couple of people that have worked with us have since gone on and worked for our clients, because my clients have gone, they're fantastic, and I've offered them a job. And I was like, please don't do that all the time, because you will kind of decimate me if you do. You will decimate me if you do that. But you know, equally, I'm really, really proud that you want to. Yeah, I'm like, again, I'll let it go this time, but please don't do them. So yeah, and that's just testament to what we do, right? And we're great at finding good people and taking them on a journey. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Griselda, I might have gone off on a tangent there, but yeah.
No, well, it's quite interesting that we all have elements of entrepreneurs in our family, because my parents have, you know, they had their own businesses, and I tried very hard to avoid their life because I thought it was too hard. But years down the line, here I am. And I think, you know, that there's a bit around what we see and the role models we see and how they really affect our lives going forward, which is why it's so important that we continue to shine a light on people, because others don't have that access. They don't have those visible role models, so they don't know what they see in addition to what they've been exposed to. So sharing stories like this just shows other people that yes, anything is possible. Just find a story of a woman who's done it, a guy who's done it, and just decide to throw your towel in and see what happens. So I'm so delighted that we all kind of had that in our background. It's an area of research as well that I'm quite interested in.
I think Griselda, the other thing as well to add to that is just for people to, and if anybody's watching, but for people to realize that we're all different. You know, we're all completely different, and that's what, as getting older, and where I used to have all of those hang-ups and issues, that then it's actually understanding that what I'm my things that I thrive at and I'm good at are completely opposite to what my brothers are. So we've all found our way, and you don't have to be good at everything. Nobody's good at everything, you know, and my brother's got incredible financial and you know, business acumen and that side. I just love to talk, you know, and I wheel me out there and talk about it. But again, that using that passion and learning as well, and learning on the job, I think is really key. The advice. I don't know if you agree, Emma.
Yeah, I was agreeing with your point that you can't be good at everything, and I am absolutely terrible at finance. I cannot count beans. I do not like spreadsheets. It makes me feel ill if you even mention it. I'm really not. That's not my bag, and I steer well clear of that. And I've got a fantastic lady, Wendy, who does all of that beautifully. And do you know what? She wanted to go into events management. She did a degree in events and found out it actually wasn't that fun organising events, and then has found a career in finance, and it's absolutely her thing, and she loves it. So yeah, we've all got our kind of strengths, and I think you've got to play to those. I mean, I know I'm never going to be good at finance, so I just don't want to, you know, I've ticked that off. I know that, and I move on to do something that I am good at. And we're very creative, and project management's my thing, and construction and real estate, you know, I know is the market that I'm really good at. So you've got to go to to, play to your strengths, and equally bring people in when you've got weaknesses, because life's too short, and you just got to accept it.
Yeah. And that leads very nicely on to the question of people, bringing people in to help some of the people that have transformed our businesses and our careers. So can I ask Claire to kick off? I know you've mentioned your parents as well, but have there been other people that have influenced, mentors or advisors or coaches, that have really been a source of a strength or resource or advice for you to get you where you are?
Yeah, absolutely. And as I've already mentioned, Rich, my brother, he is has been a mentor for me. But then, and then my other brothers as well. But I've also then had coaching through the years, which has massively helped me. In fact, I will be honest and say that it was actually my coach who it was her that thought that I'd got. Well, she initially thought I had bipolar, and she recognised it in working with me and seeing how different I was over, from one day to the next. And then she actually saw me in a social situation as well. So, and then actually the diagnosis was not bipolar, but borderline personality disorder. So, being up or down, and I have to try and make it. So I'm like this, but, that was so valuable for me. Not only has she helped me, and so shout out to Val Brown. Not only did she help me by coaching, but also helped me personally as well. And I will always and forever be grateful and thankful for that. So yeah, and my mum, my biggest inspiration. Sorry, just all of a sudden a little bit emotional. I'm sorry. Is my mum, diagnosed at cancer at 36 and raising 4 children, and she never wavered. And even when she got a secondary diagnosis, she just never complained. And when she was, at the end of her days, and she died only age 44. I'm older than her. I've surpassed her now, and she is my absolute hero, because she never ever complained. She was just amazing and brilliant. So when I've had those moments of feeling I can't go on, all I think about is her, because she didn't have that choice.
Yes.
She didn't have that choice. And I have, and I did. So she's my angel, my guardian, and she's here with me now.
Oh, fabulous. It's so amazing when we have such our parents. They give us life, and they influence our lives so much. And it's a shame that, some of us have very positive relationships with our parents, others don't. But I think as an adult, we have the opportunity to go out there and find people like Val to help us in any way possible to make this journey of life a bit easier and more enjoyable.
And I will say my colleagues as well, Griselda. I have some incredible colleagues, and I want to use this opportunity to give them a shout out as well. Sound like I'm on a radio station.
You are.
But
Radio Novi.
Yeah, but it is. And I know I'm going to bring you in, Griselda, but most of our SLT are female, and I've got the likes of Alex Sheldrake, who's our head of operations and quality. 16 years ago, she was sat next to me as our office admin, and now she is heading up our quality and operations. And as a medical device, we have a lot of regulatory bodies that we have to adhere to, and it's no mean feat. She heads up that, and she's just phenomenal. Anna Parker, who heads up our international team, she's just brilliant, and they're all a great sounding board. Emma Thornhill, our FD, again, she's massively helped Rich in from the reports and everything that it put together, and for the board. And it's I could go on, and my colleague Susie, who's just left us.
I know.
But yeah, she was our head of brand and marketing and has been made phenomenal changes to the business and things. And she's done what she should do and has followed a path into something that
Yes.
is her passion.
Yes.
You know, so her legacy absolutely is what she's the impact that she's had on Paxman. So yeah.
I'll share a vulnerable moment. I used to hate it when people left. I used to take it so personal. I was like, oh my God, after all that I've done and sacrificed, and they're just leaving. But now,
how could you?
How very dare you?
And it just shows, you know, the maturity that comes with being in business for a long time. Now, when I look back, actually, when people leave, it's best for them and it's best for me as well. It's best for the business.
Yeah.
And you know,
I think it's,
and I've also, you go on, Emma.
I was going to say, I think a lot of, we used to have. Yeah, we used to have an industry where people had to have like a job for life and they go and stay in one place.
Yes.
But I think now people move around so much, and I think it's really healthy because you learn so much more being exposed to different businesses, different types of management, different structures, different like ways of doing everything, and it makes you more rounded. So I really encourage people to move, go do different things because it really grows people individually. And I think, it's hard to think like that, but actually, like the person that left, and I thought actually they went into a massive, one of our clients is a massive organization, and they can kind of go and they could move, they could relocate, they can get more than what I can kind of offer. So I think sometimes it's not about you, it's about their growth.
But likewise, on the flip side of that as well, like, bringing in people as well, when you have been involved in a business, when you've only small amount of you and you've grown exponentially as we have, to have fresh eyes, those fresh eyes to bring in other ideas. Again, also to say, what you're doing is brilliant. Have we considered this? Let's have I think is really important.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that. I bought in a
go on.
Sorry, Griselda. Oh, sorry, I didn't know if there's. I don't know if there's a delay on my mic, but so we actually got to a point. We were winning quite a lot of business, and I thought, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to do all of this, and I've never scaled a business before. So I'm like, right, I think I've got an idea of what to do, but I brought in a non-exec director, somebody that had grown, scaled, and sold businesses in the market, to come and give me some advice, and they, we've now got kind of real kind of structure around the business, and we have one-to-ones, and they say, have you thought about this, have you thought about that? So I know that I'm developing myself, and I'm kind of doing the right thing for the business because I'm bringing that expertise in, because I don't necessarily have it, and it's something that we've thought really long and hard about. And every time we kind of grow or have a growth spurt, we're thinking, actually, do we need, for example, HR support in certain areas? So we've got somebody fractionally that advises us. So pulling in expertise is absolutely the right thing to do. It's not it's the right thing to do for the business as well. So I'd really advocate that if anybody's online and anyone's thinking about growing a business, delegate to go and grow the business. So that's one of the things I've learned from growing a business, is delegate and bring the right
delegation skills.
Yes. Well, you have to be a control freak to run your business. So it sounds easy. Why don't you just give it to someone to do? But actually, for people who are controlling, and it's that controlling that makes them successful, it's not the easiest thing to do. I wanted to also just quickly touch on building your team. We've talked a bit about that already, but for anyone joining this conversation now and wondering, well, I'm just on this journey, I can't afford to take on a person, or I can't afford to take on an expensive senior leadership team member, just share some of the strategies, thinking around how you've been able to navigate those investments, because people tends to be one of the biggest costs in our businesses.
Emma, I'll let you go with that.
I think one of the things. Thank you. I think one of the things I've found and I've learned is you can't grow and work in the business, it's impossible. So if you try to run the business and grow it at the same time, or like when I pivoted from a consultant contractor to kind of, you know, a bigger business, I found that you can't offer your client your full attention because you're thinking about so many other things. And I got to the point where I was like, am I offering good value doing this, or do I need to step back and take a risk and to be able to kind of grow the business? So that's what I did. So I backfilled myself with a successor, lady called Lauren. So Lauren's come in to be the new me on the kind of day-to-day running of the consultancy business, and that allowed me to step back, to look at the strategy, to look at actually how do we want to grow, where do we want to grow, what does that look like? And I don't think unless I'd have done that, we'd have got to the point that we are now, because you just can't do both of those things at the same time. It becomes too much and you'll burn out or implode. So one of the things I've been really passionate about is finding the right people that can come on that journey, that understand we're a startup. So there isn't everything mapped out. We're not perfect. We've got very little in terms of collateral. We're building it as we're going, but people are genuinely excited about that and want to be invested in the kind of the growth. And having people that have joined as number one employee, number two employee, and they see where we are now, they feel like they've really kind of added to that, and everybody feels really bought into the business, which is wonderful. And we're very kind of open with what we share, so everything's on the table. We talk about everything collectively, and I think one of the things I've learned is finding the right people is quite difficult. It's not easy. You might make mistakes. You might hire somebody and think, you know, they're going to fit, and it doesn't work out. That will happen. You won't get it right every time, but I think taking the time to find the right people and waiting for the right person, being brought into the same vision and kind of values and what you want to build has been really fundamental. And having the right people at the right time. I think I've possibly been too cautious with going to market with roles and been too cautious about hiring, because actually every time I've done that, I've been able to give us part of the business to somebody to manage, which has enabled me to go and speak and do more kind of events and talk about the business and get in front of customers, etc. again, which has enabled us to grow. So yeah, I think you know, take the risk is what I'd say. I know it's scary. Put your big girl pants on. You know, one of the things we've done is yeah, big girl pants moment. You know, yeah. You know, one of the problems we had this year is that we overtraded. I didn't know that was a thing. I had to learn what overtrading is. So we grew that quickly. We had that many people join us. We probably had about 12 people join us in Q1. So we're kind of paying for all that as a business, but then invoices aren't going out and getting paid for a certain amount of time. So our cost base went up significantly, but the payments weren't coming in as fast. So yeah, that's overtrading, which I've now learned about. So we've had to kind of move things around, look at funding, you know, but actually the position that we're in now is a fantastic position, and we've just had to kind of get over that kind of that little heap. So yeah, investing in people, making sure you've got the right people that are bought in and as part of your journey and part of your vision is, yeah, it's been really key for us. If I hadn't have done that, we wouldn't have grown to the point that we are now.
Fabulous. We've just had a comment come in I want to share with you, Claire. I can resonate with Claire. Lost my mom to cancer recently, which was very traumatic. Thank you for sharing your story. You are inspirational. That's why we do this, isn't it?
Yeah,
because so
absolutely.
many people going through the same thing as well.
Yeah. I'm so
fabulous.
Sorry. Yeah.
And we have Anna Marie, who was on my team last year, back watching the awards. She'll be following on social media. Welcome back, Anna Marie.
Hi.
So, I want to talk about the awards. So, obviously, we've had a rebrand. Last year we were Forward Ladies. Ta-da! This year we are Novi, which means sisterhood. And it took a while for us to settle on this name, but I'm so glad we did it because we needed a new start, a new brand, new energy. And I'm very excited about our next chapter with the community. Now, I know always we get so many nominations and people still sit on the fence. And I want to share why it's important for people to take the time and to complete an application. Who wants to go first, please?
I'll go first with this one. I think it's really important for both sides, from people nominating other people. You know, as you said, we need to celebrate these brilliant women who are change makers in the world. There is a lot of negativity. We're very British in that we don't always, you know, speak up about ourselves or celebrate ourselves. And I think it's genuinely really important for as I say, for both sides for people to be celebrated and to give them that confidence that actually, do you know what you're doing is brilliant. And you know, and then also for individuals to put yourself out there. There's nothing better than putting yourself out there. And then, you know, to be shortlisted is just phenomenal. It really is. And then, you know, to be hugely congratulated, Griselda, because as I said to you before, the new brand, the new name, I think it's wonderful. The sisterhood, it's fantastic. But when you attend one of your events, they are inspirational. They are absolutely inspirational. You are in a room filled with women who are absolutely bossing it. And it's so great to see when all we hear, and I'm not trying to pull away from the difficulties that we have in the world. It is a difficult time. I'm not getting political, but we need to celebrate. We need to celebrate each other, and we need to celebrate the good that is going on in this world and, you know, in the country. Oh, look at that. Oh, a good bird on the end.
Fabulous.
But what a wonderful picture. But yeah, and you have some incredible speakers as well. So I think it's so important to celebrate people, put them forward to something that you wouldn't normally do, but also to bite the bullet and to celebrate yourself.
Fabulous. Emma. I am biased, so I don't want to say anything.
I think for me it was really interesting to actually write down what we've done, and it's only through kind of being coached and having a NED and understanding actually how much we've grown, because it was my NED that said, you do realize you've grown like 600%. I was like, I didn't realize that. He's like, yeah. So it's through the process of kind of writing it down, we've kind of actually realized what we have achieved in the last year, coming up to second year now. And I think if my story can help even one person, give them the courage or, you know, confidence to go for it, then that is worth all of it. And I think, like I said earlier, representation, if you can't see it, you don't really think about it, because you need to be able to see to be aspirational. So yeah, if anybody's going through a hard time, or, you know, thinking 2 years ago, coming up to 2 years, I was sat in a coma in hospital and didn't know if I'd be able to walk again. And actually the point we're at now, so I don't want anyone to sit there and think I can't do this, because you can, you really can. And if my story helps one person, then that's fantastic. So that's a reason enough to enter.
Did you find it cathartic as well, actually, to put it all down? Because it's part of what, when I've gone through coaching, and also part of my mindfulness as well, is to write those things down. To show yourself and prove to yourself those little wins and what you've achieved either that week or that month, depending on how much you do it. But I think certainly for me, in that process of from the initial nomination and then you submitting, obviously submitting the application, it's actually seeing it all in black and white, in detail as it is. I found that really useful as well. So yeah,
it's helped me tell my story as well. So it's helped me kind of put it into a story, because there was a point when I'd come out of hospital that cognitively I was still repairing, and I struggled to kind of string it together. But actually the process of writing it down and making it clear has helped me articulate what I've been through and what the kind of highs and lows, and put some kind of examples around it. So yeah, it helped me as well, because it helped me kind of formulate that narrative in my mind. And it's also been great kind of showcasing the business and what it is that we do. And the platform it's given me to go and talk about what we do has been fantastic as well. Again, we may have not as grown as much if we hadn't have gone through that process. You don't know. So yeah, I just found the whole community, the whole support, even the chats I was having with Anne-Marie prior to the awards, because the awards was at a specific hotel that we'd been to before, and they had heated loo seats. I mean, that's the reason to go into the awards, because I've never seen a heated toilet seat before in my life. So just do it for that, because it's wonderful.
Do you know one thing I want to touch on as well? Obviously, I am a big believer in reflection. I went for an interview recently for a board role, and I realized that because I haven't applied for anything in over 15 years, I just get on with it. And the things that I discount are the things that people see and really value. And they're like, so of all the things you've done, which one are you most proud of? I'm like, which one? Like, I've done so many things. So this is a chance for you to take that step back and really just see the impact you're having and be able to measure it and be able to reflect on what got you there, so you can take the best of those things forward. But obviously there's the community as well, and there's the judges. And I would love for you to talk about the live judging day, because I think that's something that's quite unique about awards as well. The fact that you go into an interview and are interviewed, and some people might love that, some people might be intimidated by that. So can you just share your experience of that day as well?
Yeah, I personally loved it. I really did, because you can put things down on an application on paper, but for me, the best time for myself is when I'm when I'm talking. So to be able to have those structured questions and to be able to have that opportunity to expand more on what you'd put on your application, it was, I thoroughly enjoyed that process. And I also thought it was great because there's a lot of awards and things that don't necessarily do that. So again, I did really enjoy it.
Fabulous. Emma?
Yeah, it was kind of like speed dating, which is really fun. So you get put into different rooms with different judges and talking about your experience. And yeah, it was very it was quite fast paced, but quite exciting. And yeah, the speed dating elements, like boom, 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 boom. So yeah, it was a fantastic experience, and you kind of get to speak one-on-one with somebody and kind of tell your story. So it doesn't feel daunting. If you go in and it's a panel, you're like, oh my God, I've got to present, and there's all these people staring at me, and you start to get imposter syndrome, your gut starts to go. But it's not like that. It was just so relaxed and informal, and hi, nice to meet you. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience. Really, really good.
Agreed.
Oh, fabulous. Well, on that note, I mean, I'm all smiles. I'm very happy. You both made me very happy. So if you're joining us and you're wondering how to apply for the awards or to nominate, you can head over to the noviawards.com. Nominate somebody and make their day. There's so many people working so hard. And receiving very little recognition, especially the female entrepreneurs. We just carry everything and bottle it in and just crack on with it because we have no option. So if you know a female entrepreneur, you are one yourself, or you're in a community of female entrepreneurs, take the time and just nominate one or two people. I always say that nobody ever hated a nomination. Nobody ever goes and says, I really hate to be nominated for an award. Even if they didn't apply, I know, I can assure you that you would have put a smile on somebody's face. Nominations and applications close on the 13th of September. So we're looking forward to showcasing some extraordinarily fabulous female entrepreneurs again this year. And the date for the actual award is on the 22nd of February. And we've decided to go back to that special hotel again because the experience was so fantastic. Now, thank you all so much for joining us. This has been recorded and streamed across all platforms, so you should be able to watch a recording at your own time and pace. If you have any questions, feel free to type it in. You can also email me or message me on LinkedIn. And I really encourage you to follow Claire and Emma. They are fantastic. They've achieved so much. They're real. I love real women. I love real women. Not that they are fake women, but I love women who are just themselves. And as Claire said, who are bossing it with authenticity and grace. And these two are just doing that. And if you want to connect with more of such women, check us out at wearenovi.com, your community rebranded, re-energized, and thriving. And we'd love to have you there as well. So thank you, Claire and Emma. This has been quite a joy and a great way to start the day. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. And again, thank you for all you're doing for the women in business. It's phenomenal.
Thanks, Griselda.
Lovely to
next time
I'm climbing. Yeah, next time we'll climb Kilimanjaro together. This time nobody wanted to join me, so I'm doing it on my own. But ideally, I'd rather go with a group of women. So
Griselda, I'll have to get my arthritic knees sorted first before I go to Kilimanjaro with you. But I'll be there when I do.
All right. I'll do it for all of us.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.